After receiving such great reception and rave ratings and reviews, Helldivers 2 has found itself in a bit of hot water. After receiving great reception for months, as well as maintaining an incredibly high player base, Helldivers 2 might have just gotten killed, and it's no one else's fault except PlayStation. Allow me to elaborate. I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw this tweet saying Helldivers 2 will soon actually require a PlayStation Network account, followed by a link to an article explaining further. It goes on to say, although the Steam page for Helldivers 2 has clearly stated since release that a PlayStation Network is required, you actually haven't had to link them. That will change really soon. In a fresh Steam announcement, the developer said it not being required right away was due to sorting out all the technical issues, but that grace period will now expire. This is set to happen on May 6th, which is pretty soon at the time of this recording. But they also follow up saying that current Steam players will have until May 30th. Why is this a sudden requirement, you might ask? The explanation was that account linking plays a critical role in protecting our players and uplifting the values of safety and security provided on PlayStation and PlayStation Studios games. This is our main way to protect players from griefing and abuse by enabling the banning of players that engage in that type of behavior. It also allows those players that have been banned the right to appeal. This doesn't sound like a big deal, right? I mean, the current players of Helldivers 2 just simply need to make a new PSN account, and it's free, so what's the big deal? Just like it's free for you to hit the like button on this video and help the channel succeed. Shortly after the release of this announcement, Helldivers 2 took an incredibly quick turn in the public eye. It suffered a slew of negative reviews and getting review bombed on Steam due to the incoming change, as well as a large number of refund requests. Pirate Software, a streamer who I've seen often on my timeline, actually tweeted out, "Not happening. Removing access from Steam players unless they make a PSN account and link it months after release is absurd. Review changed to negative, and I have filed for a refund." He even had a TikTok that slid across my timeline where he went a little bit more in depth about his feelings on this decision, and here's what he had to say.
The publishers and the developers just killed Helldivers 2. Sony put out a thing saying that if you don't connect a PSN account, you lose access to Helldivers. There are tons of people around the world that bought the game that don't have the ability to make PSN accounts unless violating Sony's TOS because they're in a region that cannot make PSN accounts. On top of it, I'm not giving my personally identifiable information to Sony to keep playing a game that I bought on Steam and had full access to. That's not happening. In response to this, a bunch of people are mad. They've all downvoted the shit out of the game, as you can see. If we go look at this, it is just nuclear optioned from the player base. This has only been a couple hours. It's going, dude. It's been like 9 hours. And people started flooding into the Discord and saying like, I'm pissed about this. Why did you do this? And now the community manager has shit on a person. I don't know how many times they've done this, but they shit on a person. It got captured and released all over the internet, which doesn't absolve the studio at that point. A lot of people had this narrative that the studio wasn't at fault, it was the publisher, but when you have your own community manager shitting on people, it's over. So my response to this was I left a negative review for the game, explaining my distaste for the situation. I then attempted to refund the game, which I haven't heard back from Steam yet. I removed all of the channels from our Discord for it. I removed our emote for it, and we're removing the emote from Block Game. I will have no part of this game ever again. I'm completely cutting the cord. That behavior is so far unacceptable that it makes our entire industry look bad. Every single other dev looking at this is feeling secondhand embarrassment from their activity. It's wild, dude.
And even after seeing how people have reacted to this with the negative reviews, filing for refunds, you might still have some people out there who saying, again, what's the big deal? Just make the freaking PlayStation account and link it to your Steam. And to that I say, hold on, it's not quite that simple. If you actually go to the Helldivers 2 Twitter page, on the initial announcement, it also reads in the community notes, which shout out to that over on Twitter. I don't like the direction that Twitter has gone, but that feature has been one that I think has been being used correctly. By the way, follow me over there, twitter.com/JPhrygian. Link will be in the description box down below. The community note reads, there are currently only 69 countries that have access to the PlayStation Network, which means if you're in an unsupported country, you will now be locked out of the game. To make a decision that literally will rip away access from members of your player base, some of which have been loyal members since the game launched and been singing its praises for nuns, is asinine for PlayStation to do as a company. I feel as if this goes in the same vein of a lot of companies and studios recently pulling access from digital properties straight from consumers' hard drives. Like last year, we had PlayStation completely pulling access to Discovery properties once they no longer held licensing, or more recently, Ubisoft ripping the Crew's availability from people's hard drives because they no longer had server support. For you to essentially take people who have already been playing the game and not have some type of process that grandfathers them in past this new limitation is very weird to me, and it's not consumer friendly whatsoever. Of course, companies aren't always trying to look out for the consumer as their number one property, but they are looking out for their bottom line, which ultimately is hurt if you're ripping away access from people who literally don't have an option to continue to use your product after you make a change that you approve. And the sad part is a lot of the reception is falling on the developers over at Arrowhead, when in actuality, the fact of the matter is PlayStation is the publisher. And more than likely, this was PlayStation's decision to say, if you don't have a PSN account, you're gonna be locked from playing our game any longer. But maybe the public outcry and how quickly it was, I mean, at the time of the screenshot I showed earlier, almost 6,000 negative reviews in a single day. I would think that would be a wake-up call to the guys over at PlayStation to say, hey, maybe we need to find a better way, or we should roll this out a little bit differently. This sucks because it was at a time that I was actually going to be trying to get into Helldivers 2, and now I'm just not so sure. I was really looking forward to playing the PC version. I don't necessarily mind connecting my PlayStation account, but I also understand that this is just a decision that ultimately hurts people who paid good money to enjoy this game. I'm definitely hoping that PlayStation reconsiders, and I'm gonna keep you guys updated on this news as best I can. I'll definitely let you know if I still decide to hop on Helldivers, or if there's any updates that maybe they're gonna find another way to meet in the middle when it comes to their player base. Plot twist, there was an update while I was still editing this video, and it looks like PlayStation has come to a new decision. At midnight on Monday, May 6th, PlayStation tweeted out, Helldivers fans, we've heard your feedback on the Helldivers 2 account linking update. The May 6th update, which would have required Steam and PlayStation Network account linking for new players and for current players beginning May 30th, will not be moving forward. We're still learning what is best for our PC players, and your feedback has been invaluable. Thanks again for your continued support of Helldivers 2, and we'll keep you updated on feature plans. The reason that this is so funny, and I'm really sorry I'm laughing, is just someone responded and said, I hope this is a lesson to everyone. We have the power as consumers. The corpos are beholden to us, not us to them. And showcasing this graph of the negative reviews that came for Helldivers 2 since this announcement first went public, and it's at an over 263,000 overwhelmingly negative reviews, and that jump happened over the course of literally 4 days. You got people saying democracy prevails, fans and devs won, because listen, I don't know if I made this clear earlier in the video, this was all up to the decision of the publisher. This was not Arrowhead's fault in what was happening moving forward. Going back to Pirate Software, he actually stated, while this is a victory for the players, you've left a lasting stain on your brand as a publisher. Many people have very little reason to trust Sony going forward. Moving the business before you understand the player base is never the right choice. And the reason I keep going back to him is that he seems definitely invested. Seems like he was super into Helldivers, and I actually really enjoy kind of what he has to say in the matter, because something that did occur in the midst of all this going on, Sony literally the previous day had been shown to have removed access to the Helldivers 2 in every region that could not make a PSN account. So we had started to see the ball rolling on their future business decision meant for the end of the month. And Pirate actually went on to say, never seen a golden goose killed so publicly in my life. And it seems like there's still some progress to be made, because he also quote retweeted that Helldivers 2 no longer being publishable still hasn't been backtracked yet. He said when this is undone, he will change his Helldivers 2 review back to negative. Anything less than reversing what happened is just words on social media. So the fact that they went forward and already removed access to the game from accounts, it seems like they were still trying to work out the kinks on rolling back this decision, but the conveyor belt was already moving forward with the original plan. I'm hoping that Sony does back this out as well, and also return access to those people in the countries, because this is 177 countries where PSN is not available. That is outrageous to do that. People who paid good money for this game and you instituted a authentication means that would remove access that they've already had for months. I really hate that this is gonna affect Helldivers 2's legacy, but I'm hoping that Sony does salvage it in some way. I'm happy to tack that little amendment on the end of the video. I was really thinking this video was going to be completely painted in a negative light, but we got to end on a positive note. Glad I could give you all the updates that you needed on the state of Helldivers 2. And if you want to know everything that we know from the initial trailer for Marvel Rivals, click the card on the screen to check out this video. Thanks for watching this far, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace out.